Moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. There's no discharge in the war.
That's a super weapon. That is literally the cyber pandemic, bro.
It's here. It's now. It's happening. Wow. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode, Shepherd's Pie. I'm David.
And I'm Sir Thomas.
We kicking it off because we've been ranting already for a minute. Got some good shit brewing. Don't wanna waste it off camera. Today is the day before Valentine's Day, so we do just want to wish y'all happy Valentine's Day. Finally getting caught up with like scheduling and editing and uploading, so I've got an understanding of when videos are coming out and what's going up when we're uploading. So now I actually know that this will be up a day before Valentine's Day. Hope you and y'all have a good one. If you don't have anybody to celebrate it with, hope you just celebrate with us. You know, this episode will be up tomorrow on YouTube. Fucking save it and watch it there. Fucking hang out with us.
I don't know, man. Valentine's Day has always been like a thing for me that's felt so damn gimmicky. There's parts of it that are all right, you know, like obviously being nice to your loved one is kind of like a given.
Yeah.
But the corporatization of it and everything is just ick beyond belief.
Yeah. A lot of people like it. A lot of people hate it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the time it's the lonelier people that have a problem with it because fuck, man, it really does suck to have to spend this holiday by yourself over and over and over again when you see everybody else.
That's
so happy
kind
together.
of fuck. It's kind of like the way that it's set up is it makes people who don't have anybody. It's like an overpressure.
Yeah.
It gives an overpressure to people. And you see a lot of stuff going around on like social media during this time where it's like really kind of urging people to just find someone. Just find someone, doesn't even matter who it is, and spend time with them just for Valentine's Day so you could say that you had a Valentine, you know? And it's weird because it kind of like props up from school, you know? You get like they bring you into school and like your parents go out and get you like special Avengers.
You get like a big box
cards.
of Valentines to give to everybody.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know. And if you don't have anybody give you a card, then you feel like a little loser. And it's like, what are we doing here? Like, come on.
Well,
Come
so
on. Like, I like the idea of like really spoiling your loved one, you know, like if you have a partner, like, yeah, that's awesome, you know, like, but I don't think that should be something that's only delegated to a day, you know what I mean? Like one day of the year.
That's the problem with Valentine's Day is it's like, why do we all have to go that hard on our significant other on this day? Like, it's not necessary for everybody to do it on the same day. That's why it gets icky, because then it's like this big corporate grab for everybody's money. Like everybody, all these corporations can literally expect to make X amount of money each year, boom, on the charts because of a holiday. And we don't need to do that. Like, you could make this special day any arbitrary day of the year for your loved one, you know? Like, you have an anniversary, you know? Like, I don't know, it's weird. And like you were saying, the like friendship aspect, the just anybody aspect, like let's give something to everyone. Like it used to be, as we did this research in this, I came to understand that like when the church essentially like adopted this holiday as a pagan holiday into a Christian holiday, it was originally because it came from a fertility ritual, just about like the romantic aspect. And then over the years, it's more like friendly. And now it's even like personal, like love yourself, love your friends, love your neighbors, love everybody. Like it doesn't just, because, you know, the left, I won't even say the left, the who do you call them? I want to call them something. No, like
Progressives,
the broken people, the lonely people, the ones that will then cut their hair.
disenfranchised.
Yeah, the disenfranchised. That's a good term. But like the people that end up in Antifa, you know, like those crazy fuckers, like these people that
The bullied.
yeah, they have the weirdest messages, so that they want to push. But it's like, you know, nobody can be left out, nobody can be alone. So like, let's all just be friends. And like, it's a good message, but it comes from a place of like, you know, these people spent Valentine's alone over and over and over again, and it's supposed to be like this fertility ritual. It's supposed to be this thing, and they just want to co-opt it to everybody so that nobody is feeling that negative effect from it. But it does certainly have this really strong negative effect on people that aren't feeling like they're part of the thing, or that they're doing the thing. They're not included, and that's really harmful to a lot of people. Like suicide rates on Valentine's or around Valentine's are crazy.
Yeah, it goes nuts. It goes nuts, and that's sad.
Yeah,
you know, like there's what is it? It's it's a thing, dude. It's like an actual like category of like I wouldn't necessarily say entertainment, but it could be entertainment for some really sick individuals. But of like Valentine's Day tragedy.
Yeah.
Like a Valentine's Day tragedy. Like, you know what's crazy is a lot of these shows that are on TV, and they kind of are like with the times, you know, like these series. They'll end up having a Valentine's Day episode drop, you know, and if it's like a crime drama show, then it's like it shows you these tragedies of love, and and it becomes its own category that just people end up buying into, you know. It becomes like a little meta symbol.
Yeah,
and,
to your point, not just TV, but think of all the movies too. And then like you don't just get the romance, but you get like the horror or the drama.
Yep. Tragedy. And it's like an energy that's, you know, felt everywhere that celebrates it. It's not just here, but it's not like a world encompassing holiday either. It is weird that it's a Christian holiday. Like I never really thought of it as a Christian holiday, but it is. I think it was mostly like a European, you know, like even just that region, that like part of the continent, you know what I mean? Like even just that whole region.
Yeah, well, everywhere Christianity spread.
Yeah. They had the pagan, you know, societies. They would have fertility rituals because they usually observed nature in a closer manner and kind of synced up with that. And then they had their deities and whatnot that they would ascribe to each and every little part of that. But like February, you know, that's when a lot of like animals are having children, you know, birds and everything, and
yeah, that's one of the things
for us to do it at that time.
Day.
Exactly. And for like human beings, we have like a 9-month gestation period. So like when you bang in February and you get pregnant, you end up giving birth 9 months later, sometime around August,
October,
October, somewhere around there.
October, November. And
that gives you time before the winter, you know, like, so it's like it helps that cycle, you know, and it works a little bit in the like natural cycle of things.
I don't know if it does for us, but I was seeing that like the birds start laying eggs in February, and that's one of the things that are like ascribed to Valentine's Day, that like, oh, the animals, this is the time that they are making their love and making their babies, so we should be making babies.
Yeah, it's like people just try to sync up with it, you know. These like pagan type cultures. And what I'm really meaning by like the pagan type cultures is more like smaller, not so governmentally organized type of peoples. You
Yeah.
know, so you got like tribal type of living. You
They
got encampments. You know what I mean? Like
they
you're pretty
generally
much in
worshipped like
nature.
nature.
Yeah.
They were more aligned. Like they didn't have major religion like other people had. They had a
Yep.
faith and a religion that coincided with what they saw, and that was what was happening in the sky and what's happening in the lands around them. So you
Yep.
have, just like in the Eastern religions, you have them worshiping like a spirit of the local forest or the local river in a different fashion, but very similarly.
Yep.
But
Yeah, it's
very
pretty
often you
wild.
get them worshiping things like Saturn or other bodies in space, and
Yeah, that's what's weird.
then they start to cross over with ancient religions, these pagan religions, and then those things get absorbed into Christianity. So it's like, you see
Yeah.
how it's all just dirty and tainted.
So it's like, yeah, that whole region was, you know, those tribal type peoples, tribal pagan type peoples, and they all kind of, you know, they would trade and you know, talk amongst each other, and so the whole region had this understanding of and had similar climates for the most part.
Yeah.
So then so when Christianity spread and everything, they bump into all these people that have a very similar holiday around the very similar time, and here comes Valentine's Day, you know.
So
Adoption at least.
yeah. So in my research, I didn't find like an exact beginning date.
Yeah.
Like you have more of a date for like the recent idea of Valentine's Day, but like this idea of like a Saint Valentine goes back really, really far. Generally put around like 3rd century, so like 300. But a Roman Saint Valentine, that apparently there was multiple, and history kind of muffles them up, but this is the story, is that a Saint Valentine who would have ruled under Claudius II was like marrying people in secrecy. So Claudius banned marriage across his empire because he thought that unmarried men were better on the battlefield. He thought married men were distracted. They didn't want to put their life forward as hard because they wanted to get home to their wife, or maybe like you hear in football, like, oh, you were fucking too much and now you're tired. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever it was, he thought unmarried men were better soldiers. So he banned it straight up. And so the Saint Valentine would secretly marry off these men, and he was hung and killed for it. He was martyred, and they celebrated him after his death. They would hold feasts on or around February 14th for this Saint Valentine who was marrying people. So, like, I guess from the beginning it had this romantic connotation to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Going against the empire, going against the empire for love, you know, like there's always something romantic about that.
Right. But then you get this Lupercalia, and I don't know when Lupercalia, like, would at its earliest point would have been celebrated or practiced. Let's see. No, it's just giving me the date of the month, not how early it started. But it would have been around the same time, like very early Roman period. Maybe before the Saint Valentine, maybe after. I'm not sure. But the Lupercalia was a like fertility festival that the Romans would practice, and the Februa was like a purification instrument that the month of February is named after. And this Dia Februarmius, let me fucking pronounce Dia Februarmius, something like it's weird Latin shit. I can't pronounce it. Let's see, Dios Februarmius.
Dios Februarmios.
That's the best I could get.
Dude, I don't know. I'm uncultured swine.
But that's where the name February comes from, is this fertility festival that they practiced in ancient Rome. And then so as the Christianity spread recently after, they're like, oh, we can't keep doing this. Everybody's trying to follow Jesus. But like, see, I don't know. Is it like, because the argument is, oh, well, you want to like absorb the people that still want to practice this into the new religion. But then if everybody's converting to this new religion, why do they care? Why would anybody care about the old shit? And it's like, well, maybe there's some stragglers. So we got to scoop up the stragglers too. I don't know. It's really
I think
confusing.
it's also there's probably like in my thought of it, there's like a two-part reasoning why they would do something like that. Because you're right, they don't need to keep it afterwards. But these pagan holidays, they were very nature centered, you know, and not just nature externally, but nature, human nature, you know?
Right.
So keeping these holidays around could serve multiple, multiple goals. You know, if you have enough of these holidays that serve base human desires or cycles or just grander, almost subconscious type level stuff, then it just helps to create like a rhythm for people. You know, like you get them, if you can get them into a rhythm throughout the year of like certain rituals that get all of their base desires out, or their what they need, you know, then they're less likely to probably revolt, you know? Like that's what these holidays were adopted for in the first place, was because without these holidays, these people that converted, they were pissed and they would revolt, and they just wanted to have their crazy hedonistic holiday. They needed it, you know? And it's like
see, I feel like it has something to do with the hedonistic holiday. Like there's a need for it, and not in people.
Yeah.
I don't think it's people that need a hedonistic holiday. I think the devil or an unclean spirit or some Nephilim or one of the negative forces that's vying for power. I think that's how they get their power. That's what they get off on the most, is these fertility rituals, and that's why you see it. It's so prevalent throughout all of history. I don't think it's just because people were trying to figure out sex. Like
we're gonna go into something called Saturnalia at some point. We're doing Valentine's Day right now, but Saturnalia is exactly what you're describing. It's all about it's called Saturnalia, and it's about Saturn, and Saturn being Kronos. And it was a Roman festival that was held, and it was just straight up debauchery for like a full week or two. All crime was legalized. It was like a purge thing where all crime was legal. You could go out and kill whoever you wanted to, if you held a vendetta or whatever. People, the elites would hold regularly giant orgy parties. You would eat and feast until you threw up type deal, and then frickin' eat again. You know, Saturnalia was a huge festival that the Romans really, really had. Romans being like very early Romans.
right.
But the actual festival did carry on, and it's still theoretically around today in elite circles, you know, like these families that kind of have ties back to these periods and these emperors and rulers of the age. So,
well, why would
Saturnalia?
If you were a billionaire and you know anything about history, and you know the ancient Roman elites were having a festival that was so crazy, it lasted so long, people were dying because it was so luxurious. You have so much to eat and so much to drink and so much sex that you actually passed away because you had too much and nobody was looking out for anybody. So let's do that.
I believe that
actually, let's try to
also
outdo that. We got more money. Why not outdo that?
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's exactly what they think, you know. But another aspect of that Saturnalia is they would pick. There was someone that needed to be sacrificed, during that time, a human sacrifice. And they would pick that person, and that person would be like the leader of the festival locally. So like all these different provinces, they would pick their own leader, and that person was untouchable. They got to bang whoever they wanted to. They'd walk around, and for the whole like 2 weeks that the Saturnalia festival was going on, he was the king, you know. But then at the end of it, he would be sacrificed. Yeah. So it was like a thing where you could volunteer to be that guy if you really wanted to. You know, you get everything you could have ever wanted for 2 weeks, and then you're offered up on the pyre for Kronos.
Yeah, that's crazy.
At the end of it all. Yeah, freaking absolutely insane. But that's where, like, that idea, you know, what you're talking about, that's going to Kronos. Kronos is the father of the gods, you know, and he eats his
Kronos
children.
Is Saturn.
Yeah, exactly. And Saturn is, there's a whole, I mean, crazy shit going into Saturn. Saturn has lore for literally, like, episodes upon episodes upon episodes.
Just keep listening to us because it's going to keep coming up. Saturn.
Yeah. We'll probably end up having a full-blown type of Saturn death cult episode at some point. But...
Dude, the fucking joke about like women asking men, how often do you think about the Roman Empire?
Yeah.
And like, dude, it's, I don't know like how a not conspiracy person is thinking about the Roman Empire all the time, but like it constantly is coming up for me because everything goes back to like Roman times because they were the biggest fuckers.
Yeah.
It seems. So this Lupercalia, I would just want to make sure I don't miss anything on it because this seems to be like, when was Saturnalia? Was it like a fall festival?
I think so, because it does have to do a lot with Kronos. Like, he's like a god of harvest. Yeah. He was a time. That's why he had the sickle, and he's like associated with death and stuff because of those like reaping cycles, and it was very tied to agriculture.
Right.
Let me see. I'll look at that while you're doing your thing.
So they would sacrifice goats and dogs by the Luperci, offerings of cakes by the Vestals, fertility rites in which the goat skin-clad Luperci strike women who wish to conceive. So they're like beating women that want to have children, and then they're having sex with them, I'm guessing, because they want to conceive children during this festival. So they would also draw lots. They would have names of women. The men would draw names, and those are the women that you go sleep with.
Yep. Saturnalia was ancient Roman festival and holiday for the god Saturn, and it was held from December 17th. It was only a 2-day festival, but then by the 1st century BC, it was extended until the 23rd. So this comes into around like Jesus's birth, you know, like around Christmas. If that was actually Jesus's birthday or not, if it was April 1st, I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of wild that it was right around that time. That time is potent. It has to do with the what's it called? The solstices, sun cycles, you know, and when they're the closest, when they're the furthest away, like those are usually when like the biggest, very pagan type of celebrations go on.
Dang.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, bro. Pretty freaking wild.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to cover that.
Yeah, Saturnalia was nuts.
We'll have to plan for it at the end of the year, though, like when it would actually be.
Yeah.
Celebrate Saturnalia with us.
Yeah.
We're going to
celebrate the unveiling.
Yeah, we're going to bring Christ to it so you can whoop the shit out of it. So the Luperci I just mentioned were like their own priesthood. and they would go around in these dog masks during the festival, and those were the guys whipping women that wanted to conceive.
Yeah, they'd take dog skins. Like, how does that make you horny, baby?
Oh yeah, they beat them with dog skins. Tommy was telling me. Like
Yeah,
I don't know, I don't know
it was,
why
and
that's the ritual, man.
they thought it. Well, that's what's crazy. They would sacrifice goats and dogs, take their skins, and slap women with them, and that would instigate sex. I don't understand. I don't know why that would be used other than dogs have a lot of kids.
Yeah,
So if you slap a woman with a dog skin, maybe she'll want to have a lot of kids with you. Maybe
right.
maybe the dog-headed god that they're worshiping for this festival would, like impart fertility on this woman to have a litter of kids. I don't know. I don't know how they
Right.
thought, but
So
that's weird.
as people became a little bit less crazy, started to accept Jesus into their hearts, the powers that be, for some reason, like this has to be the church doing this, right? Like rebranded the holiday.
Yeah.
They continued it into Valentine's Day. So what part of Christianity requires a fertility festival? Never, anywhere, ever. So Valentine's Day being considered something Christian, just right out the fucking window.
Yeah, literally.
Like,
Literally.
as Christians, we should not be practicing infertility rituals. Like, that's not okay. That sounds so dirty and skeevy if you think about it. Like,
Yeah.
we could break Valentine's Day down more and see why maybe you think it's not a fertility ritual. But like
Yeah,
literally,
because it's totally a fertility ritual.
literally,
Even baseline today,
yeah,
it is.
everybody is being like psycho fucking drip fed this idea that, oh, you need to have a partner on this day, and if you don't, you're gonna be sad. Like everybody that's sad. Look at all the people that are dying. Everybody's sad if you don't have a partner on this day. So
Yeah.
what are you gonna do about it? Go get somebody. Go do something. Like everybody's desperate to hook up on this day. Why?
Yeah.
Because it's all part of the fertility ritual. You got to
Yep.
participate in some way, shape, or form. Are you bumping uglies with your partner today, tomorrow? Because that's what we're talking about. Or do you do not just you're doing it because they told you to? You're doing it because it's a special
Yep.
day. Like why
On
is
a
it a
certain
special
day.
day? Yeah, a special day, a special time. Why? Not because God told you to. Maybe some lower G, maybe some fucking Nephilim is trying to put their shit into our space, but God didn't write it.
Yep.
It's not in the good book.
Part of the Matrix.
Yeah, man.
The Matrix, dog.
So I guess that's all I really got on Valentine's. There's the Valentine's Day Massacre. That's not anything to do with Valentine's Day, though. It just coincidentally happened on the same day. Not, I mean, they probably planned it to make it a little bit more horrific, but it was like a gang scuffle between the Irish and the Italians, Al Capone and Bugsy.
Al Capone.
It was during the Prohibition era, so they were, I forget who told who, honestly. But it was like, oh, we're going to have some whiskey in this warehouse. The guys go pick up the whiskey from the warehouse and get dropped on by some other dudes, fucking mow them down. It was only 7 people died. I was like, that's not a massacre.
Yeah, literally. Like you look at nowadays,
Like, yeah,
freaking
like-
people do that shit in their sleep.
Yeah, 7 gangsters got shot. Woo! Massacre.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I guess that back then, mass killings was just not as prevalent.
Yeah. No, we're desensitized to it. Shit's gotten
Yeah,
so
100%.
fucking bad.
100%.
And we want to look at like old school, like media. We want to look at old school movies of gangs and think like, oh, it's so violent. They're so crazy. No, we got it so much worse now. Go to any big city and look at all the gang violence, all the activity going on. Listen to the music. Like, just listen to what they're willing to tell you that they're doing, let alone what they're doing in the dark, in the alleys, when the cops aren't around. Fuck, cops won't come around. But
we got a bunch of different, like, fertility gods and goddesses.
yeah, it's
Basically,
a
like,
big
the
thing.
fertility deities, they don't have to be inherently either a male or a female. there's usually freaking, I don't know, usually you hear about fertility goddesses. You
Right.
know, like that's kind of like the one that's pushed at least a little bit more modernly into like
Right.
the zeitgeist, the culture. But there are men gods that
Yeah. What's
are
the most prevalent
associated.
for Valentine's Day? Cupid.
Yeah. And that, well, Cupid's supposed to be some type of cherub, you know?
Well,
And
Cupid is a Greek god originally.
yeah.
Eros in the Roman, or maybe that's vice versa. But yeah, through media we get that misconception, the confusion that, oh, the cherub, like this little fat baby that shoots the fucking heart bow and makes everybody fall in love. That's the cherub. No, that's Cupid, and that's a misinterpretation of Cupid even. But yeah,
Yeah, this is unbelievable.
it's not an
So
angel of God.
we get like Hinduism. They've got this Parvati. Parvati is a prominent goddess of fertility, beauty, and motherhood, associated with the Himalayas and marriage. So that's
Huh.
kind of something that I'm noticing here is like a lot of these fertility like deities, they're very tied to earth, like actual earth, like the element earth,
Yeah.
like the ground, like dirt, rocks.
I wonder why.
It's like it's kind of strange. Like a lot of the different civilizations, different mythos, they have very similar ties with their gods. They might have different names, you know, they
Right.
have different dialects in all these different regions,
Right.
different whole languages. But they usually are describing very similar things, especially when it comes, and it's really strange when it comes to the different gods that they assign to things and what those gods have like dominion over and whatnot.
Right.
Greek mythology, they have Demeter, governs agriculture and fertility of the earth. So it's like it's pretty much like these pagan gods that you would assign fertility to. It wasn't just to do with fertility over our bodies. It was like holographic in how they assigned it. So it would be fertility of the land as well. You
Yeah.
would do the sacrifices and
Yeah,
everything
you
so
want your
that your
crops to be
crops would
fertile.
grow. Yes.
See, even like the ancient people are understanding that like us having a child is the same as a plant seed growing
Yep.
into a new plant.
Life-giving type of like eros,
Right.
that like love energy.
Right. And like they're
Dionysus.
never praying to a thing to create the life. They're praying to the thing for the ability to be fertile, for like the life to continue within itself.
We've got Isis in Egyptian mythology. We've got
Yeah.
Isis. She's the goddess of motherhood, magic, and fertility. Osiris, the god of the afterlife, resurrection, linked to fertility of the Nile. Hathor. Hathor is associated with like a cow.
Oh.
Like or wait, no, never mind. Hathor's not. I think Hathor's the she's they have different gods for that. There's one that's associated with a cow, and it's like that type of fertility, you know, through like animals and childbirth. But
Hmm.
then there's the other Hathor, or the other goddess, Hathor. She's like, I think, associated with like uh the home, like a lot to do with like the home and like having a like healthy home or something like that.
I've never.
Hathor represents love, music, fertility, and motherhood. Norse mythology, we got Freya. She's the goddess of love, fertility, and war. Freyr is her brother, and he's a fertility god as well. Yeah, there's a lot of these different, all of them. These are all the main, you know, different religions, different spiritual collections collectives, and they all have fertility. They all have fertility gods, and a lot of their stuff is around the same exact time of the years, all having to do with harvests and solstices. And it's like getting captured, it gets captured by these overarching things. And especially like today, it's so weird that the church endorses a religion like this, or a holiday like this.
Yeah.
Because it feels super wrong.
Yeah. At the heart of every fertility ritual, it's people giving the credit of God's creation of life up to some other deity.
Yeah.
Basically saying, hey, can you please make this life continue to work out? Like, we want to keep going. But that's not up to any other deity. Like, these lower G gods got no power over any of that. God created life. God continues when it ends. So
every name that of every person that has ever been alive, will be alive, has been alive, was written in the book of life by God.
Yeah.
Like, already there. He wrote it down personally.
And so, I mean, you might say that, like, what if you just do the Valentines thing, but then give all the veneration to God? Say, thank you, God. I'm glad I have this partner. Glad
that's reclaiming it.
I mean, you can't.
That's reclaiming it. Because honestly, what it is when you're not giving the veneration to God, something else is getting it. So you can have, like, it's a natural thing, to procreate, it's in the Bible everywhere, be fruitful and multiply.
Right.
Like, we're supposed to do that, but through these different, gods of fertility and everything, that veneration for the whole system of it, for the mechanism of it, is being given to false gods. It's being given to these demons.
I'd still say fuck it. I hate all holidays because at the end of the day, you're still lining a corporation's pocket. Like, this mass spike of everybody to go do the same thing. Fuck that. Like, I have it in me. I see the flowers, I see the stuffed animals and the chocolates, and I want to take her on a date and go to the movies or whatever, Like, I have that drive in me to do the Valentine's Day thing. But man, do I fucking hate it, because it's like, you can do that anytime. Anytime we could do that. Why does it have to be on this day? It doesn't. Fuck that.
Funny that you say it like that, too, because I feel the same exact way.
Like, why is it more special? Why is it any more or less special that it's this day? It shouldn't be.
Yeah, exactly.
And the only reason it is, I think, is because there's still some energy going somewhere else. So no, fuck it all in its entirety. Even if you try to remember God, you're still putting some energy somewhere else. Unwittingly, unknowingly.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it, as far as I mean, if you do give it to God, then that pretty much it squashes pretty much anything. It conquers anything anyway.
Right.
There are obviously other things that could profit from it, but the debaucherous aspect, if you're giving it to God, you're way less likely to be doing anything super debaucherous.
Yeah. And
you're definitely less likely to be giving veneration. You won't be, if you're giving it to God, to anything else. Yeah. And you're also less likely to celebrate it on that, like, level. You could recognize it. You could do something, small gesture of the day type deal to your loved one.
Right.
But you wouldn't be going insane over it and turning it into some type of Lupercalia festival,
Right.
Which is what is happening nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, as we were talking about earlier, it's like social media. When you've got anybody who doesn't have a partner, there is this rush. And then all of a sudden you start seeing different, you have different guys and different girls. They start posting very promiscuous pictures of themselves and start shifting their whole dynamic on social media. leading up to Valentine's Day,
Yeah.
just so that they can hook someone in real quick
Mm-hmm.
and have someone.
Yep.
That's like the same thing as the having the letters, and the random the partner lottery that they were doing with Lupercalia.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same exact thing. You're on the social media, anybody can read your shit and click on your
Oh, how
sexy
weird.
photo
I didn't even
and
draw
comment.
that connection. Like the Lupercalia, there was a partner lottery.
Yeah.
Guys would draw names of the woman to go sleep with. And then
Yep.
still to this day, we do Valentines. Put your name on this slip. Everybody in the classroom,
Yep.
go drop your name. Like everybody would have a little bag or a little container that they collect all their Valentines in. And then at the end of the day, you go through your Valentines and eat all your candy. But what is that but a little lottery? You find the one,
It is.
look through for the one Valentine that you're looking for, the girl you had a crush on,
Yep.
Hopefully you got it.
Yep.
Weird.
The whole Valentine's like actual little cards and stuff, like here be my Valentine, that apparently came from the Saint Valentine whole thing. When he was imprisoned, his last letter that he sent out to, it may have been his daughter or I don't know if he had a wife because he's a saint, but he sent out his last letter from prison was from Valentine, from your Valentine. So because he was Saint Valentine, like his name was actually Valentine,
Right.
and so he signed it that, and it just kind of got, it got picked up and turned into some type of symbol that they end up just using for this holiday that they created, that they adopted and kind of perverted. It's a weird thing, man.
Yeah.
It really
And
is.
like the red is like a fertility color. The hearts are a fertility thing. The roses are for a Roman god. Like all of it's some weird veneration for something else.
The symbolism is definitely crazy when it comes to all of this. The roses for sure. Red is also the color, like chakra wise. That's where my mind goes with it all the time, because we have the different
Yeah.
chakras, and they all are these little energy pools in certain areas of our bodies, and they have certain colors attached to them because colors have a frequency, and so certain frequency like densities will pool in certain areas of your body. And the red chakra is your root chakra, which is located right around your junk, right around your like the base of your spine, and pretty much has to do with like your sex organs. So it gets you immediately subconsciously tapping into that, and that's like the lowest density too.
Yeah.
If
That's
you look
your most
at
root energy.
Yep.
Or like your most
It
base
is the
energy.
slowest.
Yep.
It's when you're looking at these energies, like color. Whenever we assign like frequency and we put color to it, the slower, lower frequencies are red. And then the higher up the scale you go, it ends up going up to blue and like violet and shit. So you're talking about like the lowest density, lowest frequency, base energy that's being just hammered out for a day like that. Everything's red. They want you to wear red dresses, like it's like a thing. Like when you go to school, they're like, "Oh, the theme for Valentine's Day is pink and red and blah blah blah." And what is pink but red with white in it? And usually you see the chicks wearing pink, and the little dash of white in there is supposed to mean some type of innocence or some
Right.
type of purity. And Lupercalia is not just a fertility, it's also a purification rite.
Yep.
So we get that whole thing going on with it too. And you can, if you break it down symbolically, you can really derive quite a bit out of it, and you see kind of what it's doing on that type of a level. It breaks down into magic, really.
Yep. It's all magic. Just like I'll go back and watch our magic episode.
Yeah, that was a good one. And it's so prevalent, and it's just so it's not as Harry Potter, as people think, and so
No,
it's like
it's
they
every
think
day.
that
It's
because they
totally
don't see
normal.
wands and fireballs flying out of wands that magic doesn't exist,
No,
and you just don't know what magic is,
it's a
and you
thing.
don't.
This is literally just words and symbols that have been
Yeah,
in our culture, in the back, like in our cultural zeitgeist, in the backs of our heads for 1700 years roughly, like
yeah,
since 300 AD. That's what we're getting. So about 1700 years.
it's baked in.
For since we're a child, we're hearing about this thing for generations and generations, baked in, like Tommy says. That is magic. We have no control over how we think or feel about this thing unless we're going to put tons of thought and effort into it and tear it
Yep.
open and analyze it and deconstruct it and then look at it through a biblical lens and say, oh, wait, that's not godly at all. That actually
Yep.
is something deep, dark, and twisty. Let's just slap a magic label on it. Let's not call it some hoo-ha. Dude, it's magic.
Yep. Magic just got absolutely hijacked by J.K. Rowling and all sorts of shit to really kind of discredit it, and make
Yeah.
it so outlandish and so just not practical or realistic in any sense,
And
and
who had the
unrelatable.
who had the power to cast this crazy magic? The church.
Yeah.
Like, they had the power and the ability to control the zeitgeist over hundreds of years.
It was
Almost.
the church, and it was the a lot of these emperors, the emperors. So like church and state, like with the United States, we have that supposed to be separated, and for the most part it is. But back in the day, it was not at all. It was not separate at all. So you would have a lot of these emperors or a lot of these, governing bodies that were highly not just influenced, but actually part of the church as well.
Right.
So they were not separate. They were very linked, and they worked together for the control of people for the most part, for the order aspect of society. And like there's like a bad feeling about that, but there's also when you kind of look in and try to understand exactly what the hell it's all about. There is a sense where it's like, okay, we have this whole group of people. They're all looking for us to kind of guide them, and make sure, because like if their crops fail, or if we don't provide them with whatever goods, then they're gonna come knocking on our door and burn our house down and kill us. So we got to be able to satiate them. But it's like a manipulation on the part of these governing and elite people, the pretty much the rulers. It's such a manipulation on their part that it gets out of that realm of
Because
like,
they've
oh yeah,
never
you're just doing
allowed
it for
people to go to
society.
God.
Yeah, yeah.
This is
because God threatened them
yes.
and their power.
This is
So
directly after Jesus walked the earth, and there would have been, in my opinion, this is just my personal belief, there's no actually founded history that you could go research that tells you this. I think mass spread, like, let's call it hysteria. I don't have a better word. Fucking everybody is talking about God coming
Yeah.
here, walking around, doing miracles, dying and coming back. Like, it's unstoppable. Everybody's talking about it. So for hundreds of years, this is going on, and it's throwing off the way the world has always been. It's throwing off their ability to rule. So how do they get back their rule? But let's make a church. Let's give the church governmental power, because everybody wants to follow God. So we're going to say, this is God's church. They have the power, but we got to keep doing what we were doing before. So let's keep fucking doing all these weird rituals. Let's call them Christian. And that's where we get this
It's
shit
more
today.
like they get freaking they just get subverted And that's what we have going on today, and which sucks really bad, because any grassroots movement we have for any type of change that seems good, it seems genuine. That's where you almost have to like take pity on a lot of these people that are progressive or trying to stand up for certain things. It's because on the face like value of it, it has an altruistic, a good type of meaning, but all of these movements get absolutely astroturfed. They get subverted. They get people with the wrong intentions, but very very snake-like tongues and resources to come in and absolutely change everything fundamentally. And I think that's what happened, because the church wasn't created to be that. The church
Right.
was created to spread Jesus Christ and to uphold his teachings and
I don't
the
think it
fact that he
was.
was around.
I don't think it
I
ever
do.
was. I
I
think
do.
churches, like maybe some churches were, but like the establishment of the church, like the Catholic Church, no, definitely not. I think it was 100% made to get people away from Jesus. But that's
I
just
don't
me.
know.
That's just me. I can concede that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know necessarily if that's. I feel like it was something that was made for the story of it all, of what happened and the truth of things, but it just gets throughout time. It just gets taken over and then systematically eroded, like at the pillars of it.
Hmm.
And then they add things, they take things away, they keep dialing it in, they see what happens to people that follow this new thing that they just threw together. Do people like it? Do they not? What's the effects? Okay, so people, were a little bit more irritable. We're going to go back this way and try this thing, or we're going to try something new. And it's just,
To the
that's what it
point where
ultimately
people
ends
are
up
trying to
doing.
follow God, so they're listening to this guy because he runs their church and he's spewing things that 8 out of 10 times are heretical.
Yep. And then at the end of the day, the church ends up not being the thing that it really was designed to be, the
Which
thing it was
is the
supposed
thing
to
that
be.
leads people to God. And it's
It
actively
ends up
leading people
being,
away from God.
yes. And it's sad today. There's a multi-parted attack on that. It's not just from within the church, it's from without it as well. You get the whole like exposing of the like pedophile thing that was happening with a lot of
Yeah.
priests,
Yeah.
and that in itself was it's reprehensible as fuck, terrible, awful. Like, yeah, we should definitely not like allow that shit to be happening, and especially in our churches, man. Like,
Apparently
that's
continues
terrible.
to happen too.
But it was also used because, I mean, do you think that this shit ain't happening in, government? I mean, that's what we got with the whole Epstein thing. Do you think this isn't happening in elite
Yeah.
families and
Yeah.
in their cults that they are, part of?
It's
It
happening
is.
everywhere that there's power.
But let's really shine a light on the church and discredit it and get people to feel dirty for even looking at it or thinking of following it, because all of your priests are pedophiles.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, no, not all of them. There are, yeah. I mean, I guess there's pedophiles everywhere, but we're
Yeah.
gonna shine the light on church. We're
Right.
gonna take down church,
Yeah.
the thing that's supposed to help guide people to,
It's
uh,
antichrist.
yeah. So that's where I'm at with it. It's like, and that whole thing with the church wasn't really, being such a targeted thing. I remember in my lifetime when that happened.
I mean,
I was
Jesus
a
wasn't
young
pro
kid.
church.
He established the church.
He established the church within us.
Yeah, but
We are,
he
in
is,
Jesus's words, we are the church. Jesus never said
yes,
build a church.
conflating those two things is not. The church is supposed to be people coming together under Jesus's teachings and
Yes.
under him.
Yes. So
That's the church.
yes. That's why when you get people, like you get good churches when you get like these small little churches where people just want to spread the message of God. Then you get terrible people that have vies for power, and they use churches to do that. And this establishment of the church, that's all that is now, because over thousands of years, that's what it's become.
But that's not because it's a church. It's because
this is why I think it's corrupted, because it was established, and it never was established, I think, to bring people to Jesus, particularly because people were already going to Jesus.
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure if I agree. I definitely feel like
I got church beef.
To be established. Yeah. I mean, and it's definitely not hard to have church beef, especially nowadays. I mean,
right.
it's almost like you're viewed as the weirdo for not having church beef anymore.
It's like, I wouldn't even say like 1 out of 100. It's like 1 out of 1,000 churches are going to be good. Maybe I'm being a little bit too facetious. Maybe 1 out of 100. But it's like, I feel like most churches are leading people away from God. And that's not to say that you can't have a good church with some good people and a good message. Even that is leading people away from God somehow. Like, people see it and hate it, myself included. Like, what is it about that makes, like, I don't think that's how you learn God. I don't know. It's weird.
I think it has a place, and that it's maybe people putting too much into the church, and that's why it became the way it did, and not doing their own due diligences. That's like, personal responsibility definitely needs to be taken, especially when it comes to forming a relationship with God and knowing Jesus.
Yeah, you can't put your
give that
veneration
to the church.
in the church.
The church is merely supposed to be a thing to kind of just be it's supposed to be a cornerstone. It's supposed to be like a forever. Right. Like, we have this thing on earth called the church, and all it's supposed to do is echo the fact that this story is real, and to give the resource of the story.
Like,
in the
church, the church doesn't need to ever require anybody to read from the Bible. The church,
that's crazy.
The church doesn't require a building. The church doesn't require a pastor. The church doesn't require fucking anything. The church has no requirements, in my opinion. So to make this thing that is the church and say, like, this is what we're doing, weird.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it really, what it does is it boils down to like a personal relationship. Like, it's got to come from people have this thing where they want to be told what to do.
Yeah.
They want to be led, dude.
For sure.
They really do. And if you're not going to do it yourself, someone's going to do it for you, and you're going to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And that's how we have what we have today.
True.
Because people gave it up. They gave up their own endeavor to read the damn book and freaking figure it out. And they gave that up, and they were like, okay, well, there's these people that, they go to preschool and they just learn how to be a priest. So they read the book all the time. They know what they're talking about. I just got to listen to him. If I listen to him, and I should be all right. I'll get the word. I'll get a relationship with Jesus. Right. And it's like, no, you got, and it stands to reason. Like, if you use the reason side of your brain, you'll figure this type of shit out eventually.
Right.
Eventually, you might bump your head up against the wall a little bit here and there, but eventually you will figure it out. That it comes down to you. Like, nobody else can give a relationship with the Lord to you.
No.
That's something you have to establish. And if
And like
you
the
need to
church
read a
might
book
serve in an
to establish
introduction.
that, yeah, 100%.
Like if
100%.
you're lost and have nowhere to go and have no idea and you stumble into the church, yeah, that's a great header. But they
Yeah.
can't like he can't lead you the whole way, you know?
Yeah. And then it also boils down to like if you were that person, so say you were the person that was down and out, you lost your home, you're homeless, you don't have any money, you can't even eat yourself, you can't clothe yourself, and you stumble into a church. Churches they'll give you all that stuff. Like that's a beautiful thing. That if you need clothes, you can go to a church and a church will give you clothes. If you need food, you can go to a church and a church will give you food. Like if you need the word, the church will give you a form of the word, But in that state of being, you're already kind of like in a very low state, victim type state. And you're going to the church to give you stuff. So you're already in this like, I'm not doing it for myself. I came this far. You do the rest for me type deal. And you can't stay in that space. Like it's all right if you're like down and out, you go in there, you need something.
Yeah.
You get that something, and then you have to hop back on that horse
You have
of
to use that to
taking
build yourself.
control of yourself and to take that responsibility to be self-sufficient,
Right.
to follow the word yourself. Like we've become so catalyzed as a people. We rely so heavily on authority and on leaders and upon others
Because everybody's
of
been
authority.
deprived of their own authority. Nobody has
Yes.
any authority over
Yes.
their own lives anymore. So
Yes.
they look up to the authority and say, "Please, may I have some more?"
Literally. and that's I mean, dude, even going back to the whole Valentine's Day, like that's exactly what it's for.
Yeah.
It's the same exact thing.
Like what? You're not going to take your woman on a date and fuck her when you want to? You're going to wait
Yeah.
for this special day that the man says is
Yeah.
Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
Fuck you, beta
It's-
bail bitch. Go fucking treat
Yeah.
your woman any other day.
It's just a thing that people they give up the freedom. They give up the freedom and personal like responsibility of that ritual that is not supposed to be a ritual. It's just supposed to be like a human like rite and like a human sacrament that is very personal, and it's supposed to be like something you decide with your partner, and you export that so that you can have a collectivized holiday where everybody does the same thing. You all feel important and included and part of something, and it scratches some type of itch in your brain and in your sinful heart. It's
Yeah.
like that's really what it all boils down to, man, is people want to be led.
Yeah.
They do. But the only people, so it's not everybody, because there are people that buck that shit, They don't want to be led. They want to make their own choices.
Yeah.
And so there is distinction. There's definitely distinction. But it's like, what makes that distinction then? What makes the distinction? What is the difference between the person that recognizes their own personal sovereignty, doesn't want to listen to authority, and other than the Most High, and what separates them from the cattle, the people that just are either lazy or traumatized or something, to where they're just sheep and they just follow, and they look up to not God, but they look up to I don't know, Trump,
Whatever
Or-
hand might be serving them.
Yeah, literally. There's always going to be a hand in front of you trying to offer you something.
Well, yeah, whatever thing that could use you is gonna try to scoop you into their thing.
Yep. There's always some frickin' contract in front of you. Like, here, just sign this.
Yep.
Don't read what it's about, but just know that you're hard up on money. Here, sign this line. I'll give you some money. I'll give you some money right now. It'll be in your account in 30 seconds. Sign this line. Little do you know, you sign the line. Yeah, the money's there. And the next thing you know, you have to pay interest on that money. And they stretch it out over 50 years for a 50-year mortgage. And you end up paying like, dude, half of what the cost of the house would have been. You have to pay half of that in interest. Like robbery, pure robbery, pure thievery.
I don't know how we got on jewelry, but
Literally. He said jewelry, by the way.
yeah, my ring. The interest on this was crazy.
That's the thing Jesus was flipping tables for, though, you know?
For real. Like you can't
That
be
interest shit.
you can't be taking advantage of people, and that's where all of anybody with power, like churches included, they all try to provide something for people, whether it be money, shelter, community, relationships. Like you have then the ability to execute power over that other person.
Yep.
And you can't allow it. Don't let anybody have any power over you. Or, you know what? Sometimes I think let them do whatever the fuck they want to me, because God's got my soul. God's got my soul. So as long as my God's got my soul, fuck what they do to my flesh. But I don't know. Just be wise. Be aware of what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I think it is, man, right? It's like how do you get people that are okay with giving up their personal sovereignty, their personal responsibility? Maybe they don't even recognize what personal responsibility is. Like, how do you get people to wake up from that? And
I was going to answer your question, but there's too many variables of human. There's too many, there's such a spectrum of where anybody could land in understanding.
Yeah.
And so many ways they could have gotten there that, like, it's hard to say how anybody does, because, like, for me, it was just knowing about God and believing in God my whole life that kind of made me aware and open to looking into everything. And then in looking into everything, I'm able to conceive what actually is, or what might be, you know, other than what they're telling you is. And
yeah, it's like they just believe this stuff.
That's just my story, you know. Somebody else could have something tragic and horrible happen that wakes them, like a fucking drama movie, you know, that wakes them up to the reality of the thing. You know, there's so many different ways that it can happen for somebody that they would come to this point where they're not going to care about the things and they're going to give themselves up to God. Or like on the other way, like how could somebody actually not care about God and give themselves up to these things? You know, like what is, and like that's where, you know, you really got to understand like the psychology behind people. And I'm trying to, man. I'm trying to, like, it's
like a power thing, right? That's what it would boil down to.
I think you get better at it, understanding this concept. The more you talk to people, the more you socialize. And I've kind of like desocialized myself a lot over the years. But I'm trying to be better about it. So as I do talk to people more, I am a little bit more analytical, because like we've said before, I'm kind of trying to crack some people. I want to crack some normies. I want to flip them into some fucking psychos or schizos. So like I am trying to understand, like, what does it take for a person to like wake up to this sort of thing? And it's very much meeting them on that level. Like if you do want to wake somebody up, you got to meet them on their level. So that's why when we are talking about this shit, I do like to be like, well, if you're fucking normal and you don't want to consider it how we're considering it, like maybe this works instead, and then that leads you back to where we're at.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is just in that same exact thing that you're saying, meet them on their level. That goes into what I was talking about earlier with the subversion.
Yeah.
You know, it works the opposite way too.
You kind of
for manipulation, you would meet them on their level. So if you wanna fuck a group up and get them to stop asking questions, or if you want to fuck up a altruistic, you know, movement that's trying to make living circumstances better for a segment of the population or whatever, you know, you would meet them on their level, and send somebody forth that can speak their lingo
Right.
and that understands what they're talking about, and then just subvert them through that, you
And
know?
that's why it's fucked. That's why initially we just stopped talking to people. We shut ourselves off from society because it's dishonest to have a conversation
Yeah.
with someone in this way. It is manipulative to
Yes.
change myself to think about how I'm going to talk and act instead of how I naturally would, so that I
Yeah.
might get a better response out of somebody else that would be more in my
Yeah.
favor.
More
Like
favorable. Yes.
like it is manipulative and weird. It is kind of dirty. So it's a little nice to be able to say that I am this way, and at least be honest about it. Like I'm not trying to be manipulative for any negative reasons. I do just
Yeah. Because
want
there
people
is
to be,
intent.
yeah. The intent is that I want to broaden people's minds a little bit more, and if
Yeah.
it's not even to have anybody believe anything else in addition to what they actually believe, but to maybe disbelieve some of the things that they do
Yeah.
believe.
Too much in. Yeah.
Yeah.
That they're
Be-
giving too much power, because what we're seeing is we see these seats of power around us in the world. We see this United States government. We see this
mhm.
money. We see banking. We
Yeah.
see military. We
And
see
people put
all of this stuff.
their belief into all of it. They
Yeah,
believe the
yeah,
government's going to take care of them. They believe the dollar bill is going to maintain its value. They believe their power is going to stay on. They believe the textbooks. Like,
yep,
I believe in God and anything else that can be proven, but like most of the things are theoretical, actually. Like, a lot of stuff is not actually proven. And so
yeah,
if we understand what we're taught, we can say, oh, actually, these things, we don't have to consider them fact. We don't have to base all of reality upon these things because that's not actually true, or it's not actually factual,
yeah.
or founded anywhere in science. It's just what people believe. It's what people have said forever. It's just a tradition. Like, we don't have to do Valentine's Day.
Yeah, literally. We don't, and even with Christmas, we don't have to
We don't,
celebrate
yeah.
Christmas the same way that, is like commercially push upon us. We don't have to celebrate it that way, and it feels weird. You know what's crazy is like coming out of the Matrix at first it does. It feels mega weird. You get like that hole in you for a second
Yeah.
before you fill it up with what it's supposed to be filled up with.
Hmm.
But and I think that's something that people are scared of, or it's a reason that they end up going back into the Matrix. But yeah, you got to be able to understand that, like, if you're gonna actually make an endeavor to, you woke up, you see this shit, you took the red pill, maybe you didn't even mean to, maybe it was just there and you were like, all right, fuck it, let's see what this Pizzagate shit's about, and then next thing you know, you're waking up and the whole world is just fucked after that, and
Yeah.
you're just like, holy shit, what is going on? I can't trust anything. There's gonna be a hole, because what just happened is you had a whole world that was filled up, your whole psyche. Your
Right.
psyche was filled up with a world, and it had all of these figures, and it filled up all of the little areas of your brain that needed uh, authority, or needed direction, or uh, all of that shit.
And then it all
And then
gets
as soon
stripped
as,
away.
yeah, it gets wadded out of your brain,
Whoosh.
it's gone out of your soul. And then you're going to feel empty.
Hmm.
You're going to feel so empty. And that feeling is hard to sit with. And it'll drive people nuts. It'll drive you insane. But it also, uh, really the coolest part about it is that in those moments, I feel like God is truly, I think he recognizes when people are in those moments, and he sympathizes with that shit, and he's actually excited about it.
Yeah.
And he's like, here, throwing little breadcrumbs out for you. Just fucking busting a little chunk off, and he's like, here, And all he's trying to do is get you on this path. You're like out in the woods and you're alone and you're scared and you're like, what the fuck? You hear all these wolves out there and God's just sitting above the trees, just like, throwing little breadcrumbs down. He's like, come on, get over here.
You can do it.
You'll see that shit. You will. If you open up your possibility of what the world is and that there's a God, like if you do open up to that, as soon as you get that empty, God's trying to get you to find him. He's trying to get you on the road, and he leads you. It's pretty freaking wild shit. That's when the emptiness leaves. Because as soon as you realize, because at first you might not even realize that it's coming from God. You just notice breadcrumbs, and you're like, oh shit, cool. And next thing you know, the breadcrumbs led you to a road, and you're like, nice, dude. Like, who left these breadcrumbs? That's what happens first if you don't know about God.
Right.
You're like, who left these breadcrumbs? And next thing you know, you're looking around, and some dude's like, I left these breadcrumbs. Or you ask someone at the town that the road led you to, and you're like, do you know who leaves the breadcrumbs? And they're like, oh yeah, this guy, I think, left the breadcrumbs. Next thing you know, you're going and following people, thinking that they're the ones with the breadcrumbs, and they're not. And it leads you to getting manipulated and fucked,
True. Yeah.
This analogy's dope, and I'm loving it.
I'm a little bit lost, but it's working.
You get it, right?
Yeah, in that, like, people can take God's credit. So, like, if you don't know about God and you're searching for why are these things, because you have, like, if you have a very rigid, structured frame of reality and waking up to the falsehoods that ruins your world. And then you're like, oh, what is anything? People or other systems, other things might try to infiltrate that. Some systems are built to infiltrate people like that.
Absolutely.
So, like, yeah, I get what you're saying. That's your metaphor, right?
Sometimes, though, literally. that's where I was at with it,
Like, if you don't have God, you're going to be hard pressed to find an answer for your disembodied, disillusioned, disenfranchised self.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, oh, what is fucking you got to find God. God's the
Next
only
thing you
answer.
know, you're joining up with Antifa.
Right.
Next thing you know, you're sporting the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, thinking that actually matters.
Anybody can come fill that void. And honestly, that's the problem with the whole world, is there's this void that needs to be filled by God, and everybody's filled it with something else, whether it be money or politics or music or celebrities or drugs or shopping or whatever it is, food. Yeah.
Do you think Satan's a salesman?
Satan's the most beautiful, or was described as one of the most beautiful. So
I think he's a salesman.
Super alluring.
Yeah, like he's one of those, like, I don't know, man. It could be kind of like we could say he's kind of like a Trump figure, like,
I don't
not
think Trump's
beautiful as it
beautiful
to look, but like he's beautiful to like your like base self of like, I want to fucking be successful. I want to, like, I want the country to do well, and he'll sell you that shit. Sell it like hardcore. That's what makes me think Satan's like a salesman. He's gonna be a salesman. He's gonna try and sell you shit because he knows what you're lacking, and what you really want is God, and he knows that shit. And he's like, well, what do you need right now? Like, what do you think will fill that void? And don't you dare say God, but like, what else? What else? And then he's like, here you go. Take that thing in excess, in plenty.
Right.
Take it to a whole different level to where it becomes like a fucking habit and like a curse upon your soul. Like, let's do this. Excess.
It'll make you feel better.
Yeah, it'll make you feel better for a second, and then absolutely cripplingly dependent upon it after, to the point where like you're like fucked in the head. And it makes getting to God way harder. Way harder.
I think we got to wrap it, sir. That was...
Yeah, pretty soon. Pretty soon. Well, yeah, very soon.
What else you got?
I don't know. I think that was those are some good freaking points right there.
Yeah.
Like good stories, but like they're followable, I think. I think it's followable and relatable too. I think that a lot of people, myself included, dude, I went down that same exact path with that like waking up to this shit, you know? Like hardcore, super traumatic, you know?
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder because you were always in my life, man, you know, and you're always trying to tell me God, but like I didn't fucking listen properly, you know, like and so it makes me wonder, like, you can tell people God all day long.
Yeah.
But it depends on where they're at, dude.
Yeah, they got to
You
come
can
to
tell
God in
people,
their own way.
yeah. And that's kind of sad, but at the same time,
And also, like, if you just followed me, if you were like, yeah, God, yep, whatever David says about God.
Yeah, it's doing
then,
the same thing we were just talking about with the church.
Right. Then I could just mislead
Literally.
you. So, like, you do got to find it your own way.
Your own way. So it's kind of like, what, facilitating that in people then. You know, you facilitate that journey.
And that's the problem with, like, not reading the Bible. Is that, like, you got to read the Bible and understand it your own way. You can't just hear it from other people. But also, you can't just read it yourself and never talk to anybody else either. I think
100%.
It does warrant communication and understanding and dissecting.
Yeah. And like echoing, you know, like you can speak out, you know, certain points, and like you're either going to hear your own voice come back, someone's going to agree with you, you know, or you're going to hear their opinion, you know, and like that kind of debate, that friction can help too a lot with uncovering new information. Maybe things didn't really fit the model very well for you when it comes to the Bible or the story. And you get a little bit of a conflicting message with it, and it helps actually kind of shake out what would resonate better with you and what actually fits better, like truly, you know, like the discussion, getting into discussion with stuff like this. It's huge. I think it's kind of priceless.
Yeah.
Honestly, like these types of conversations are in my life are very, very important. Probably some of the most important, if I'm being honest. I don't think that, you know, a lot of the mundane shit, the day-to-day, you know, like small talk, even though I love small talk. It's fun. But it doesn't serve to fill the void, you know?
Well, so like we see with people that have no social interaction at all, you start to get depressed, you kind of regress socially, and that can have an effect on your mental state. So let's say you are interacting socially, but at a very base, superficial level where all you talk about is products and media, you know? Yeah. So then you have that like social ability. You can talk to people and you're not super depressed that you're alone, but you're not learning or growing as a person because all you talk about is what is fed to you. It's like regurgitation. The things and the stuff. So then if you are able to have quality conversations with people about not only the stuff and the things, but things that actually matter, then you start to feel more fulfilled in those conversations and grow as a person. And then if your conversations are exponentially larger than you can even comprehend, and you actually have to work and strive to have these conversations that push you to learn and grow, then as a person, you're just going to get better and better and better the more you converse in that matter or in that fashion.
Something you said with that is huge too, because you just said with the energy, you know, you're putting in like, with a lot of these surface level conversations, you're not putting in shit for energy. Right. You know, it's very easy and effortless. Yeah. And so it doesn't have a lot of energy put into it. And so the value of it is what? Not much.
Right.
So these types of conversations that you can have where you have to actually like work at it.
Yeah, like
You
we had
actually
to
have
do
work
research
your
before
brain.
we had this conversation today.
Yeah.
We had to do a little bit of research.
Exactly. And just that alone makes them far more valuable. Yeah. And by that comparison, I mean, if you aren't having these types of conversations, I feel bad. That sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks, truly. And if you stumbled onto this and you don't have people to have these conversations with, we're here for you.
Yes.
You know? We are here for you, and hopefully we can get ourselves an awesome little community together that can help. I mean, I'm not. We may be shepherd's pie, but we're not a president's pie or priest's pie. You know, like don't look for us for.
We're not pious. We're not pious.
Exactly. Like, I just want that little bit of that community thing going on where like. Don't look to any of us as like the answer givers, but like try to seek the answers. And like we're all trying to seek the answers. And through that endeavor alone, under the proper roof, you got to have the right roof over you. Answers come. Answers become apparent. And we can have good fucking conversations. Figure some shit out. Meaningfully.
Yeah.
Meaningfully.
Fuck yeah, broski. Well,
Valentine's Day, don't do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say so. But if you want, we could be your Valentine. You can hit the subscribe button, make us your Valentine.
Yes. Leave us a nice little love note, you know, or request in the comments.
Or share this episode with your Valentine. That would help us out the most, actually.
If you comment, be my Valentine in the comment section, we will answer every one of them with yes. You will all get a Valentine on Valentine's Day. We guarantee it.
Wonderful.
Guarantee it.
All right. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Bye.